By definition, an antenna is a metal whip designed to receive and transmit radio signals within a given area.
It's BS in the Morning on KSLQ and Westplex 107.1.
The summer, we have to get through the winter first, right, Shelley?
Yeah.
Where you been? You're late this morning.
I didn't think I was late.
I'm kidding. 6:28, we're having a little bit of an issue here, a technical issue. That's why we're a little bit late on the air this morning. And I'm not the kind of person that would, point fingers, but it's all Shelley's fault.
It usually is. That's why he never lets me touch the buttons.
I got a new promo for you.
You do?
Another new one.
Dare I say play?
Yeah, hold on a minute. Let me get it up here. That's what she said, right? Hold on.
Yeah,
okay.
that is what she said.
Hold on a minute. Okay, hold on. Put this in right there. Okay, you ready?
Sure.
Okay, this is even better than the other one. Seriously, you ready? Listen carefully now, okay?
I am.
Okay, here we go.
We love listening to Shelley in my country. Hi, this is Bob. Shelley is amazing. Did you hear what she said the other day?
I'm actually kind of smart, but not really.
And then she said,
I was all kerfuffled.
that Shelley makes me, how do you say, bust a stomach. You can hear Shelley live on Westplex 107.1 from 12 to 1400 GMT, or you can listen to Shelley anytime on BS.Show. Shelley, you are the cat's croak.
I'm the what?
Cat's croak.
Cat's crow?
Cat's croak.
What does that mean?
Just like bust the stomach. You don't get it?
Oh, you mean bust a gut?
Yeah, well, he says bust the stomach.
Oh, that's funny.
And the cat's meow, but you are the cat's croak. You don't get it? You're the cat's meow.
Yeah.
Okay, but what what croaks a frog? Get it? Is this too deep for you?
It clearly must be.
Okay, it's a joke. He says bust the stomach instead of bust a gut.
Brad,
and then he says,
understand.
And then he says, you're the cat's croak instead of meow. He says cat's croak.
Oh, okay. So are you going to explain this in another
Hold it. I'm just getting 42 texts at the same time.
Yeah, I know.
Brad, I understand. You don't have to explain it. Ha ha, funny. Here's another one. Brad, that's so funny. Bust the stomach. Ho, you were cat's croak. Ho, funny. Apparently the listeners got it, Shelley. I got like another 40 texts just came in.
Oh, you do not.
Oh, here's another one. Come on, Shelley. Don't you know what bust the stomach means? They all know. I think it's funny.
Okay.
You don't like it.
I don't understand it.
Okay. I guess one of those things.
But that was so funny.
One of those things where if you have to explain, it's like if it's humor. If you have to explain it, it's not funny, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's not funny. Oh well, I'll call Bob.
The other one from the other day was funny.
I'll call Bob.
Like funny, ha ha.
But you didn't say. He says. We listen to Shelley in my country. Hi, this is Bob. You didn't think that was funny?
I did.
So you find no humor at all in that whole thing?
I did.
I'm slaving over a hot microphone and a hot computer putting these things together, and you're like, I don't get it. Explain it to me.
Well, I didn't get that one, but I got the one before.
That's what she said. Okay.
She did.
Okay. Anyway, lots of stuff going on, and you know what? Here we go again. I'm going to put on my traffic reporter hat. Okay, ready for this?
Yes.
Okay. It hasn't rained in a while, so you know what that means?
It means the roads are going to be really slick.
Well, all that crazy oil comes up from the road. So when you're driving around this morning, it's supposed to the rain's supposed to end next hour, and I think that's pretty much for the day. Let's look at this. I think the rain's supposed to end at least by 9 o'clock this morning. Shouldn't be raining anymore. But at least through morning drive, at least most of it, it will be raining. So please be careful out there. And don't drive like Shelley. You know what I'm saying?
DDLS.
Matter of fact, I don't know if you know this is a true story, but when Shelley, the last time she met with Chris Highfill, he went out to her car and he put a chicken wing on the roof of her car. And And then he mumbled something. And so Shelley goes, Chris, what did you just do? He says, well, I'm trying to take care of you because I know the way you drive. And she says, well, you put a chicken wing on the top of my car and then you said something. And he says, well, I said a prayer. And Shelley says, why did you do that? He goes, now you're driving on a wing and a prayer.
You're just looking for redemption, aren't you?
Yeah, from Chris.
That was funny.
Did you get that one?
I did. That was cute.
Okay. 6:33. There's this bizarre stuff going on. I feel whoever owns the Armory, this is the new, if you go Highway 40, you know what I'm talking about, on the elevated section of Highway 40 coming out of downtown, the Armory building is right there behind, sort of near where the big Budweiser animator billboard is, the eagle flying billboard, okay? Big old monster building, been there for decades. I think it dates back to the 30s, and literally, they don't have it like this anymore, but it was the place where they kept the guns and where the soldiers went. And in case they needed to send soldiers off to war, they went to the Armory and they gave them guns and away they went. Okay, not exactly like that, but that's what, it's called an armory, and there was a reason it's called armory because they had arms there, okay? Somebody bought it, fixed it up, and put all sorts of neat stuff inside, games and things like that, like a night spot, like a go-to, like a date kind of place, stuff like that. Since the day it's opened, they're having trouble with people breaking into cars in the parking lot, okay? And I'm thinking to myself, how is this so impossible they can't fix this? Because I said the other day we need to put a bait car in there. Have a cop sit in the back seat, cover him up with like a cover. It looks like somebody's got a blanket laying in the back seat. And when somebody smashes in the window, he jumps up with a gun and says, "Hands up, I'm not going to shoot." And the guy would say, "Well, if you're not going to shoot, I'm just going to run away and steal the stuff anyway." No, but I mean, the idea, now they're talking about putting an 8-foot fence around the parking lot. I'm going like, God, don't you wonder why the city can't do something about this crime problem? But here's the interesting thing. The police chief of Washington, D.C. had a speech yesterday, and now he's being criticized by the people of D.C., or at least the politicians in D.C. Why is he being criticized? Take a guess. Are you there?
Yeah, I am. Sorry about that.
Why is the police chief being criticized for what he said yesterday in a speech? Actually, a press conference kind of deal.
What did he say?
He essentially said, the problem with crime in Washington, D.C. is repeat offenders. And he said the average person who's arrested for murder has already been arrested 11 times. So in other words, 11 times they've been arrested for other crimes, and they're still out in the street, and then they commit a murder. So you're going like, no, hold on a minute now. Why don't
you ask Kim Gardner that?
Well, that's not her deal. She's not in D.C. This is the police chief in D.C.
I know, but she could get some pointers that work.
It doesn't make any sense. Like we talked to Pinky yesterday. I mean, it's just to the point where it's like, okay, I listened to that interview, edited up the interview yesterday. And one point he says, and it's pretty funny, he said, Kim Gardner skipped over 6,000 cases to prosecute him and his wife. And I'm going like, you know what? I never thought about that. She did. She skipped over 6,000 cases, including rapes, murders, armed robberies, shootings, stabbings, to prosecute him and his wife because.
Is that white privilege?
I think it's white. It's white unprivileged. You're like unprivileged. I mean, like, oh God, this whole thing. And what's crazy about it is people have forgotten the teachings of Martin Luther King. I mean, what's his classic?
I agree with that.
What's his classic quote? It shouldn't be based on the color of your skin, but the content of your character.
Your character.
I mean, doesn't that say it all? Doesn't that say that there's white people that are scum bums, there's black people that are scum bums, there's Indian people who are scums? But yet you have wonderful white people, wonderful black people, wonderful Indian people, wonderful, name a race, name a religion, they're wonderful people, but yet. What happens is like, for example, they talk about, crime in the country, okay? Well, crime in the country, you go out to places like, Washington County in Missouri or places like that. It's not black people causing problems. It's white people. It's white people who are cooking up meth and stealing cars and breaking into houses. You know what I mean? It's not black people, it's white people. But they're not good white people. They're scummy white people. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, why does every community like to call themselves the meth capital of the United States? You don't know how many times I read these articles. It's like in so-and-so county in Georgia, known as the meth capital of the United States. They've said that about Jefferson County. They've said that about Franklin County. They've said that about Warren County. They've said that about Lincoln County, all the counties around the St. Louis area. And even to the point where I even heard somebody call St. Charles County the meth. I'm going like, okay, remember, you and I have gone to Chamber of Commerce meetings where Kyle, where your brother, Kyle, I mean your son, you have a son and a daughter. You have Tiffany Gaines and Kyle Gaines. And right? Isn't that the way it works?
Sure.
Anyway, Kyle Gaines, he's like the head PR, he's the comms guy for SCAD, which is the St. Charles County Ambulance District, okay?
Yep.
What does he say the problem in St. Charles County is? Remember this? He talks about this all the time.
Opioids?
Exactly. It's opioids, which are like, the OxyContin kind of stuff, all that kind of weird, medicine, that kind of stuff. He says that's what it is in St. Charles County, not meth. Now some people say, well, it's the same stuff. No, it's not. Methamphetamine and opioids are different things. But yet, once again, and why is that a badge of honor to call yourself the meth capital of the United States? I read an article just the other day. Some city it was in Alabama. Well, this is the meth capital of the United States. No, it's not we've got it right here in the St. Louis area. It's Jefferson County. It's Franklin County. It's Lincoln County. It's Warren County. Well, how can they all be the meth capital? Well, there's lots of meth to go around. I don't get it. First off, they say meth, you take it once and you're hooked. Why would you take it? And you see these people who are meth heads, their teeth fall out and they look
I've
like...
often wondered that.
Why, if someone says, hey, if you drink this drink, your ears will fall off and your nose will become clogged up and you have to breathe through your mouth for the rest of your life and you'll never be able to smell anything. Well, hell, give me that drink.
Let
me drink that. No, like they say, what they say the last words of a redneck are?
Get out of my truck.
No. Hey, watch this.
Oh, that's funny.
There's all these video compilations, whatever you're going to call it, on YouTube of like the ones that always crack me up are the guys that decide they're going to tear down their barn and they hook like a big old chain to one of the big supports of their barn and then they hook the other end to the axle of their truck. And then they put it in drive, and they drive off real fast. And instead of the barn falling down, the rear axle of their truck gets ripped out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, didn't think of that one, did you? You thought that you're just going to drive that, put that thing in drive, pop the clutch, whatever it is, and just drive off, and bang, you're going to yank that support beam out of the barn, and the whole barn's going to fall down.
Well, that's usually because it's on blocks.
What's on? The truck's on blocks? No, these trucks are working trucks. No, they're actually, ones that have engines in them and.
That actually run.
Yes, that kind of stuff.
Technicality, really.
They had actually move. I watched this thing on. I'm a nerd. I watch all this kind of stuff. And Jay Leno is back. And by the way, I saw this fascinating Jay Leno video. Do you know before he burnt himself? He was almost killed in a motorcycle accident.
I didn't know. First of all, that he burnt himself, and second.
You don't know
no,
about?
I didn't know that.
Well, you don't know about the accident he had where he burnt his face and his chest and stuff like that?
No.
That happened, I think, late last year, like in October, November, something like that. He was, he's got this thing called Jay Leno's Garage. Pretty interesting. Tricky name. He actually hired a consultant to say, hey, I got this garage, I got these cars. What should I call it? And he wrote him a check for $100,000. And the guy came back, Jay, we've got the perfect name for your garage. Yeah, what is it? Jay Leno's Garage. Oh, thank you so much. I never could have thought of it myself. Anyway, he was working. Yeah. He was working on some kind of a car, and the fuel line broke or something like that, and gasoline fell on him, and it got ignited, and his face burnt, and he had really bad burns on his face and his chest and his arms, the whole bit. And so I'm watching this episode of his on YouTube last night, where he has a Duesenberg. You know what a Duesenberg is?
I do.
Duesenberg was these incredible old cars. They were only built for a short period of time. And he talks about how he's rebuilding another Duesenberg, and he's bought a used Duesenberg engine. And an engine in a crate, great big old monstrous thing, and it's not all there. Parts of it missing, the blocks cracked, the whole bit. I think he said he paid like $350,000 for it.
Wow.
Yes, just for an engine. And then he has this table of parts that maybe has like 12 parts in it, and he says, you're probably not going to believe it, but that's $50,000 worth of parts. So then he walks over to this motorcycle, and he's talking about, what he's doing, he's walking around his garage and talking about all the projects they're working on for 2023. And he's talking about how they're going to rebuild this Duesenberg engine. It's going to take probably a couple years. And then he goes over and shows this other car that they've been working on for 3 years, and it's almost done. And then he goes over to this motorcycle, which is a Chief motorcycle. Now Chiefs are back again. Or no, it was Indian. An Indian. Might have been a Chief.
They are.
I thought they had Chief motorcycles too. Anyway, it was a motorcycle, and it was a sidecar. And you know what I'm talking about, motorcycle with a sidecar, right?
Yes, I do.
He said he was...
Our friend Scott Ellinger?
Yeah.
He has a sidecar.
Does he really?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so he says he was out driving this motorcycle. They worked on it. He was trying to get it fixed, and he started to have a problem. It started to have a fuel leak. So he's, he's talking about, hey, you got to get back to the shop right away. So he does a U-turn, and he decides to take a shortcut back to the shop, and he goes through a parking lot. The only problem was the parking lot on one end of it had a steel cable across it so people couldn't get into the parking lot. So he hits this steel cable, and it catches him right in the neck. And
oh, my goodness.
It knocks him off the motorcycle. The motorcycle keeps going because he said that when he hit the steel cable, it literally pulled him off the motorcycle. He went, backwards off the motorcycle. Motorcycle kept going, went across this parking lot because the motorcycle went under the steel cable, but he was sticking up above the motorcycle. Obviously the steel cable was like probably 3 feet in the air, so it caught him right in the neck.
Right.
And it broke his collarbone and broke 3 ribs, and he's got a concussion. And his arm's out of the socket. And I'm going like, how come nobody talked about that?
Hey, Evil Knievel.
I'm going like, and it's funny because...
That man broke every bone in his body.
It's funny because his line is, he says, because I'm a young man of 72, if I were older, I probably would have been more severely injured. I'm thinking to myself, okay, love that line. If he were young, if he were older, he's 72. So I see if I can find this story. And I'm thinking to myself, man, this guy I thought I beat myself up. This guy's got me beat. He catches his face on fire, hits a steel cable on a motorcycle, knocks him off. And the whole deal was he's showing the motorcycle how the front of the sidecar smashed in and the forks broken, the whole bit. And then he talks about something which I forgot about, which used to be a real big problem because these were all the hot rodders did it. And it's weird. This is Nerdville. You ready for this? Hydrogen embrittlement.
I don't know what that means.
You don't know what hydrogen embrittlement is?
No.
Oh, my God. Did you used to work for the FAA?
I did.
Did you used to, do you drive a car still? That's on the driver's license test. Question number 3 on the Missouri driver's license test. What is hydrogen embrittlement and how should you avoid it?
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not. Don't believe him. Permit drivers. Just ignore.
Yes, Brad will. Okay. So you don't know what that is?
No, what is it?
Oh, I bet you. If I throw my phone number out there. Here's my phone number. You can text me 314-280-8880. 314-280-8880. I will tell you. I bet you. I get 40 texts. People know exactly what that is.
Okay. Waiting.
They're coming in right now. We have to take a break. I'm going to read them all. 647.
Yep.
Look what you made me do, Shelley. I've only said that once in that entire song. Gosh, Taylor Swift. If she charges by the word, she's a millionaire. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Anyway, hydrogen embrittlement. I've had 36 people tell me exactly what, and they have agreed to me. 3 people with their learner's permit says, "Thanks, Brad. I checked, and you're right. That is on the driver's license test."
It is not. Stop it.
Okay, I snorted again. I'm sorry.
Yes,
okay,
you did.
I'm reading this article. I'm so tired of hearing about the royal family, King Charles. Here's the title of the article. King Charles offers Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, a lifeline following eviction blowback expert. Okay. He evicted them from their residence that they own. What they own, the king owns all the residents. He evicted them from Frogmore Cottage. Okay, I'm sorry, but is that like something out of Harry Potter? It's the.
I was just going to think the same thing.
It's the Frogmore Cottage. Yeah, right. Harry Potter. That's on chapter 3. Paragraph 6. Okay, so I'm reading this. I'm going like, okay. See, he's going to be coronated as king. The official coronation is May 6th. So the controversy has been, well, if Meghan and her prince husband, come to the coronation, which they may not, where do they stay? Because they don't have their Frogmore Cottage anymore. So the story is that the King, Charles III, is going to give them a suite of apartments, a apartment suite at Buckingham Palace, so that where they're in town, they can hang out at their suite. Now, get this.
They don't like her because of whatever the reasons, but they're going to allow her in the palace?
Well, here, let me read this. This is the expert. This is the guy who is the royal expert. He says, quote, "There's been a bit of blowback over the king's decision to evict the Sussexes from Frogmore Cottage, and the last thing Charles wants to look like is a heartless landlord. The king also needs to throw Harry a lifeline, a place where he can bring his family and feel safe if at the last minute the Sussexes decide to show up for the coronation." Okay, don't they have Red Roof Inns in England? I mean, can't he stay at Motel 8? I mean, like if someone invited you to, let's say your friend who you work with the FAA in St. Louis moved to San Diego, and they invited, and their daughter is getting married, and they said, "Hey, Shelley, we'd love to have you come to San Diego for our daughter's marriage." Wouldn't you expect you'd have to get a hotel room, right? Would you expect that they would say, "Well, you don't have a cottage for me to stay in, or you don't have a couple of suite of apartments or suite of apartment suite for me at your palace in San Diego?" See, this is the crazy thing about. This is why you look at things like this and this whole Meghan Markle, Prince Harry thing. And of course, look at me. I'm talking about it, but it's just stupid. Because it's like the funny thing is, if you go watch that South Park, the South Park, spoof on them, it's so funny because they walk into a TV show carrying signs, "Leave us alone," "Don't bother us," And in other words, they're on Oprah. That's the whole idea. They're on Oprah saying, "We don't want people to bother us. We want to be private people. We don't want to be in the public."
And
okay.
They shouldn't have told people they were coming to the U.S.
Well, they shouldn't be living. Where they live in Montecito, which is like the richest zip code in California. That's where Oprah lives. When they did their interview, they had.
Is
No, Beverly Hills, I don't think is the richest zip code anymore.
That wasn't what I was going to say.
You were going to say, "Brad, you're the stupidest guy in the world. Shut up."
No, I wouldn't say the first part, but I would tell you to shut up.
Okay.
But that's not what I was going to say.
What were you going to say? Go ahead.
I can't remember it now. You did that on purpose.
No, go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
I don't remember.
I'm not going to be like Nancy Pelosi and say, "You can't say that."
Tear it up.
Right. Tear up the speech.
That was so bad.
Yesterday, we talked about this yesterday morning, that Tucker Carlson went on his show, what was it, Monday night, and had all this video footage. He's got the 40,000 hours. What's his face? Who gave it to him? I can't remember. All these politicians, they all look and sound the same to me now. Anyway, one of the politicians in D.C. gave Tucker Carlson 40,000 hours of the Capitol security video from January 6th. And Tucker Carlson's playing the video with the shaman, the QAnon shaman, the dude with the painted face and the horn head on, and he's just walking around. And literally, I saw parts of this, literally, the Capitol Police are showing him, they're like tour guides. "Hey, look at that painting over there." They're pointing out things. I'm going like, "Doesn't look too violent to me." So Chuck Schumer goes on TV yesterday and says, "This is terrible. That was terrible. January 6th was horrible. And they're cherry picking."
Was he even there?
What's that?
Was he even there?
I guess. I don't know. I mean, the whole thing is just, and what's interesting is if you listen to like Tracy's station, there's a name that keeps coming up on Tracy's station. And it's not Tracy Ellis. The name that keeps coming up is Ray Epps, EPPS. Okay?
Yeah.
Have you heard that name before?
I have.
And why have you heard that name before?
Well, that might be Ron Epps.
No. In relation to the January 6th thing, have you ever heard anybody talk about Ray Epps?
No.
Okay. This thing is so crazy. Ray Epps, they're almost positive, is an undercover FBI agent who was there.
Why would you announce that on the radio, Brad?
Well, no. Hey, Tracy's been talking about it for 2 years now. Ray Epps. Matter of fact,
you're going to get me started on her.
You go to their studios. One of the studios is the Ray Epps Memorial Studio.
So stop it.
We have to take a break at 6:59.
You're so full of it.
I like the way a song ends. People are screaming, and then the music just stops, like something happened to him, right?
That's kind of deep, yeah, but sure.
It is BS.Show 706. I'm Shelley. She's Brad. I'm just reading an email from some guy who's saying that he knows exactly what hydrogen embrittlement is. So anyway, we'll move on. Shelley, you really don't know what that is? It's on the driver's license test. You honest to God don't know what hydrogen...
It is not on the driver's license test.
It is. It's one of the most important things driving a car. If you don't know what hydrogen embrittlement is, you're in trouble.
Okay.
Okay. Can I vent about something? The smartest woman in the world sent this to me. And this is what is frustrating to me about how government can get away with things that we can't get away with, okay? Now, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say we had a contest and we said, hey, if you call in at 8:05 on March 8th, which is today, and this is hypothetical, disclaimer, hypothetical, okay? If you call in to Westplex 107.1 on March 8th at 8:05 and you have the phrase that pays and you are the 14th caller to our request lines on March 8th at 8:05 and you have the phrase that pays, you get $10,000. That's 10 with 3 zeros after it, or 1 with 4 zeros after it. $10,000. Okay? So let's say the contest winner, we run the contest, and the 14th caller has the phrase that pays, and we said, you've won $10,000. So, and they say, you have to come to the studios.
Like $1 million
it's
dollars?
Right, it's like, exactly, okay. And you have to come to the studio, and you have to pick up the check, because we'll give you one of those big checks. You know, like they have the big checks, people hold the big checks. So the lucky 14th caller shows up at the studio, and we get the press there, and Channel 5 and Channel 2 and Channel 11, and Tracy Ellis is there with her news crew, and they're all there. And we say, hey, here's Georgette Smith, and she just won the $10,000 Westplex 107 contest. And we hold up the check, and instead of the check saying $10,000, it says $4,685.22. And somebody says, hey, hold on a minute. I thought you were giving away $10,000. And the winner, Georgette, goes, yeah, I thought I was getting $10,000. Well, yeah, we said it was $10,000, but you have to consider the ascended value of future value provenance of inverted cash flow and treasury insurrection. And you go, what the hell is that? Well, $10,000 doesn't mean $10,000. Okay? Now, that's a dramatized version of what I'm going to talk about. The winner of the $2.04 billion lottery has come forward. But instead of winning $2.04 billion, they only get $997 million. Less than half. I'm going like, okay, I call foul on that one. Okay, you get less than half. But the government can do that. So in other words, the government, hey, it's the $2 billion lottery. You can win the $2 billion lottery. But when you get, and here they're giving the check away. And what's interesting is the check says $2.04 billion, but that's not what they get. They get $997.6 million. How can they get away with that? Now, I know the smartest woman in the world is like groaning right now because she's this whiz with numbers, and she's going to, and it's been explained before that if you take the lump sum payment, one payment, things like that, here, matter of fact, I think that's her texting me. Hold on a minute. Here we go. Yes. Government has nothing to do with the lottery. No, that's not true because it's the government lottery. Tell the legislators in the state of Missouri they have nothing to do with the lottery because of the fact that the money goes to the government. Okay, so it's based on actuarial tables that the real jackpot is you get, I don't know, so much for 30 years. Okay, now let's think about that. The government is scamming people already because most of the people that play the lottery are at least 80 years old. So they don't have 30 years, right? I mean, unless they lived to 110. There are a few people that lived to 110, but not many. Okay.
Is it transferable on death?
I don't think it is.
Huh.
I think that's the crazy thing. It's sort of like Social Security, another scam from the government. Okay, if you work all your life, your entire life, let's say you're a single guy, you never get married. You work all your entire life. You put money in Social Security, and the day you turn 65, and you're going like, "Oh, I'm 65. I'm going to start claiming my Social Security." And you walk out in front of your car or in front of your house. You get hit by a truck, and you're killed. There's no money coming to you, and there's no money coming to your family, because if you were married, it would go to your wife, and I think even if you're divorced, it would go to your ex-wife. But if you have no, I think this is the way it works. If you have no marital ties, in other words, you've never been married.
Unless you've been married and living together, unless you haven't been married but have been living together for 7 years.
Okay, but let's say
in Missouri.
Let's say it's some dude who's living by himself, never been married, has no kids. Okay, his 65th birthday, he's all excited. He's going to go down to Social Security Administration and fill out the forms and start getting Social Security. He walks out in front of his house, gets hit by a truck. He's not getting any money. So what's happened? The government just keeps it. You paid in for 45 years. Thank you very much, you sucker. We got your money and nobody's getting it. We're keeping it. I think that's the way it works in the lottery.
Sounds like half sounds like half the for-profit businesses do the same thing.
This is why we call the smartest woman in the world the smartest woman in the world. This is what she sends me. The Multi-State Lottery Association, MUSL, is an American not-for-profit government benefit association owned and operated by agreement of its 34 member lotteries. MUSL was created to facilitate the operation of multi-jurisdictional lottery games, most notably Powerball. Okay, well, guess who gets the money? It's the states. God, don't you love... Here, let me read that again. Multi-state, Missouri...
It's okay. We'll wait.
This is why she's the smartest woman in the world. Next text. Missouri revised revision of statutes. Revised statutes of Missouri, RSMO section 313.283, 313.285. Prizes not assignable except to revocable living trusts are personal custodian requirements. Death of prize winner, how prize is paid. So in other words, they're saying prizes are not assignable except to revocable living trusts. So if you put your lottery winnings into a revocable living trust, then they have to pay out. But otherwise, when you die, guess what? You don't get any money. Oprah's, she's, a matter of fact, there's a new special where, I don't know if you know about that, new special comes out that Oprah's doing a special for the Powerball. And she's talking about, and what happens is pretty interesting. A guy, I saw the preview on this, pretty interesting. Guy, you're going, oh, what are you talking about? The guy wins the lottery. He's on stage with Oprah, and he's like all excited. And he's like a single guy, never been married. And he walks up on stage, and he's about ready to get the lottery check. And just as he walks up on stage, he trips and falls and breaks his neck, and he dies on the stage. And Oprah says, and you don't get any lottery money, and you don't get any lottery money, and you don't get any lottery money, and you don't get any lottery money.
Oh, you're funny. Still trying to compensate for the
I didn't get
the
for what? I compensate
for Bob.
I'm not going to touch that. Okay, anyway.
Nope.
Anyway, so it's a scam. Once again, I give my example. If we did the contest with $10,000 and the day we gave the check away, we're only giving away $4,682. People go, well, hold on a minute. No, that's not what they said. They said the radio was $10,000. Oh, well, that's the projected what is it? What do they call those guys? I said it before.
Huh?
No, actuarians. What do they call them? I'm the dumbest guy in the world. Actuarials. Yes. That's what the actuary. I'm going like, I don't believe this. And see, what happens is everybody goes along with this. Okay, that's fine. Okay. I mean, we're a bunch of suckers. Instead of people down there, in Capitol protesting about abortions and protesting about this, we should have people down there. The lottery is fixed. When you win the money, you don't really win the money. You win less than that money. Wouldn't you love it that if the government said, hey, you owe $10,000 in back taxes, but you know what? If you just give us $3,000, we'll just call it even. No, they're going to change. They want their $10,000 plus interest plus penalties. You know what I mean? It's like they're not taking less. Why should we take less? If you win $2.04 billion in the lottery, why should you take $997 million? Get what I'm saying?
They come and take you away.
Yeah. Did you hear that?
I did.
Yeah.
So did you settle yours with the smartest woman in the world?
She sent me something else. Which is why everyone does trusts. See, once again, we've got an expert who's advertising on our station right now, Kevin Vitale. He's a trust expert. Vitale,
yes, he is.
VitaleLawSTL.com. And matter of fact, it's pretty interesting because the laws of the United States sometimes can be used for things that the United States doesn't want it to be used for. But anyway, I'll talk about that in a minute. But seriously, if you need, matter of fact, we met with a lady yesterday who uses Kevin Vitale as her attorney, and she has a trust. Remember, she talked about that.
Yeah.
And she said she couldn't be happier with Kevin. Check out Kevin. Real easy. Kevin Vitale, spelled common way, V-I-T-A-V-I. Let me try that again. V-I-T-A-L-E. Kevin Vitale Law, or no, VitaleLawSTL.com. VitaleLawSTL.com. That's what it is. Okay. Do you know there's this crazy thing, and I'll mention this because I shook my head the first time I heard this. I thought, what? Okay, you can have, people talk about you can't have a submachine gun in the United States now. But the interesting thing is you can. Do you know this story?
Do I want to know this story?
Well, it's sort of interesting, to me at least is interesting, because it shows how if there's a law, somebody can get around the law, okay? So the big thing in firearms right now is silencers are more appropriately called suppressors. And the reason for this is that people won't tell you this, but this allows them to do target practice in their basement, okay? I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying right now. That's one of the reasons why people are buying suppressors and silencers, whatever you want to call it. But they're illegal in the United States unless you get a tax stamp. Okay.
Unless you get a what?
A tax stamp. It's almost to the point where it's like what? How did this country get formed? The Boston Tea Party. Because why did we have the Boston Tea Party? Because they were putting tax stamps on our tea that came over from England. We had to pay the King of England, a tax for our tea, and we rebelled against that. But now, if you want to buy certain guns, you have to get a tax stamp. Okay, so here's what's interesting. A guy has figured out how to do this. And if you think I'm kidding about this, I am not. This is actually sort of bizarre, weird, and strange. When I first heard this, I thought to myself, I don't know if I'm being BS'd or not. You know, it's pretty bad when they say you can't BS a BS'er, right? Okay, so I'm thinking to myself, I am being BS'd. So this guy tells me, he says, if you don't believe me, go out to this place out in West County and you'll see it. So I went out to this place called the Range West. And it's a gun store, and it's a shooting range. Matter of fact, it's sort of weird. It has an address on Manchester, but it's really not on Manchester. It's behind the Wendy's in Ellisville. Okay, I believe it's Ellisville. And literally, you drive through the Wendy's drive-through, and you go in the back of the place, and it's across from Vlasic Park. Or Vlasis Park, whatever, like the Pickle Park, whatever. I can't remember I think it's called Pickle.
The Pickle Park?
Pickle Park, Vlasic Park. Okay.
You're so fun.
So if you go in there and you go back in the one area, there's this kiosk. You think I'm making this up? I'm not. There's a kiosk, and you go and you fill out these forms on the kiosk. It's done like with an iPad. You know, like you fill out forms on iPads and stuff like that. It's done with an iPad, and you put your credit card in, and it sucks your credit card and charges you like $400 or $500. And what this does is it does two things. Actually, it does three things. It applies for a permit from the government to get a suppressor. It orders you a suppressor. So in other words, you put in which suppressor you want, and it creates a trust for you. It creates a legal trust for you that when you get your suppressor, the suppressor is not owned by you, it's owned by the trust. So you can't be arrested for having a suppressor. Your trust has a suppressor, and they can't arrest the trust. So I'm going, don't believe this. Honest to God, I went out there, and I thought to myself, I was in the neighborhood, this is about before Christmas. I thought, I don't believe this. And sure enough, here it is. You go back in the gun store. It's back where, as a matter of fact, if you've been out to that store before, you go in the front entrance. And I think the place used to be a bowling alley. Sort of interesting place. Big place. Really nice place. Locally owned. Couple guys own it. Wish they'd advertise with us. But anyway, you go back in the back, and it's like on a hallway back toward the restrooms. And here's this little kiosk kind of deal. You walk up to it. And when I went out there, there's somebody, and there's two people in line. And I said to one guy, I go, what are you doing? He says, I'm registering for my suppressor. I go, is this for real? He go, yeah, you fill the thing out. And he goes through the whole thing. You fill it out. You put your credit card in and sucks your credit card in and, takes money out of your account. And it, A, orders your suppressor. B, files for, the tax stamp from the BTAF or BATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. And C, creates a trust. So when they send you your suppressor that you put on your gun, you don't own it. The trust owns it. I'm going like, I can't believe this. Is that bizarre or what? And what they're doing is they're getting around this federal law that you can't own a suppressor. So technically, you don't own the suppressor. Your trust owns the suppressor. You can put your wife on it. You can put your girlfriend and your wife on it. You can put your kids on the trust, the whole bit. So the idea being is that when you die, you can just say, well, I'm dead, but my wife's on the trust, so it's her suppressor now. And when she dies, she can say, well, my kids are on the trust, so when I die, the suppressor goes to my kids. So nobody actually owns it. Isn't that weird?
It's brilliant, is what it is.
I know, but it's going like, I'm going like, who would have thought of this? Going like, how do you, once again, and somebody's going to come along and say, well, to hold it, Nancy Pelosi is going to come along and say, that's not right. You shouldn't be able to buy a suppressor. Well, I'm not buying it. It's my trust. I don't own it. I don't own the gun. I own the suppressor.
Do you have a trust?
No. I don't. Do you think anybody trusts me? No, I don't have a trust.
I trust you.
I don't have anything to give to anybody. I'm flat out broke. Who wants my $300 car and my $500 car? Who wants those, right? Nobody. Right?
Oh, Brad.
I got to get my $500 car fixed.
You do?
I do. I got to get my, And once again, what's wrong with my $500 car?
Air conditioning.
No, my catalytic converter's clogged up. That's what happened to it.
Sure they didn't just steal it?
No. Matter of fact, they would have done me a favor by stealing it because that car would run great now without. The problem is the catalytic converter gets clogged and your car has, if you ever had this happen, this is the second time this happened to me, where a catalytic converter gets clogged up and it's like you can maybe drive 20 miles an hour with your foot to the floor. That's all you can get out of it. That's all the it just because the exhaust gases have nowhere to go. And the problem is if you try to drive for any extended period of time, you burn the engine up because what happens is the exhaust gases don't get out of the engine like they should, and the engine gets hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter. Pretty soon you burn the engine up, which is, I think I may have done that in this car because I drove it back from Pacific with a clogged catalytic converter.
Yeah, but you also were doing wheelies in the parking lot,
I
so
was.
there's that.
Mike Otten said, doesn't make any difference about all this stuff because according to the climate activists, we only have 7.5 years till we're all dead. Right. 2030, wasn't that the day?
Global warming.
2030, wasn't that the day?
GW of it all.
And he also says, check the tailpipe for potato. Maybe I can potato in my tailpipe.
That's how a Harley sounds.
Potato.
God,
those are terrible motorcycles.
they are not.
They are terrible
They're
motorcycles.
sexy.
There's this
That sound. Oh my gosh, it just makes me stop in my tracks.
There's this guy on YouTube that's fixing up a V-Rod. You know what a V-Rod is?
Yes.
Okay. And matter of fact, the Harley purists think that Harley went off the tracks when they came out with the V-Rod. If you don't know what the V-Rod is, the V-Rod is this very cool-looking, all-chrome motorcycle. It's very sleek-looking, and it has a Ducati kind of frame. If you know what a Ducati motorcycle is, a Ducati motorcycle, matter of fact, when my son was younger, my son made the observation that a Ducati motorcycle looks like it's made out of Tinker Toys. You know what Tinker Toys are? You know, those little round things with the little holes in it?
Brad,
And-
I know what Tinker Toys are.
That's the way Ducati motorcycle.
There's some people in our demographic that doesn't know what they
Right.
are.
And for the young folks out there, Tinker Toys were these things, and what you did was you had sticks and you had these connectors, and connectors were these round, like they were like discs, almost like flat, like hockey puck kind of things, and they had a bunch of holes cut in them, not in the flat side, but in the round side. So like every 30 degrees or something, every 45 degrees or something like that. So in other words, you can build things and you can have things come out of these connectors as at angles. In other words, you have to build, just like with Lego, you have to build everything flat, because you're just stacking bricks and stuff like that. But with Tinker Toys, you can build things at angles, okay? So that's what the Ducati motorcycle looks like, and that's what this V-Rod looks like. So the Harley purists turned up their nose, oh, V-Rod. Anyways, this guy on YouTube fixing up a V-Rod. I'm telling you, I'm thinking to myself, he bought the thing for $3,000. Okay, it wasn't in good shape. He's already put $6,000 in parts into the thing, and
That's about right.
And it still doesn't run. I'm going like, why would you do that? You could probably buy a used one for like what, $8? Here, hold on a minute. I bet here. Let me go. Your favorite thing. I'm gonna put Shelley to the test. Shelley's like the Facebook Marketplace expert, right? Here, I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna go on Marketplace. And I'm going to go on search Harley, Harley, V-Rod, V-R-O-D. There it is right there. Here's one for $3,600. There it is right there. $3,600. Here's one for $6,800, $6,500, $4,500, $5,000, $2,600. Here's one, $6,500. All these Harley V-Rods. And this guy's put $10,000 in the thing and still doesn't run. Why would you do that?
I don't know.
That's like me buying a $300 car and then putting a transmission in it. Why would I do that?
Because that's what you do.
That's right. 727. It is BS.Show. I'm Shelley. She's Brad. Together we make BS. 732. Off the air, Shelley said to me, hey, do you know what today is International Women's Day?
It is.
Why are we working today? Isn't that a holiday?
It should be.
You think?
Yes.
Do you know the big controversy which has been going around with Hershey's, the candy bar company?
No.
You haven't heard this?
No.
God. It's, once again, here, I'll get in trouble because people say I'm making this up. Let me see if I can find the ad.
For Hershey's?
Yes, it's. You don't know about this big thing?
No.
Okay, hold on a minute.
Is it raining?
Okay, they have this deal where they have this commercial celebrating International Women's Day today. Okay, here, let me. So, like, there's all these different YouTube videos. Okay, someone's texting me. I think this is Agnes. She's going to get. Yes, it's raining. Okay, that's what we see.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks you so much. Okay. Hershey's has this new candy bar that supposedly celebrates International Women's Day, which is today. But the commercial for it has a transgender woman in it. It's a dude who's made up like a woman.
So Hershey's is trying to be woke?
Well, trying to be. They're like woke, woke, woke. And the candy bar idea is Hershey. Get it? Hershey.
Funny.
Hershey. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and what's bizarre about it is, explain to me why people have nose rings. I don't understand that.
Or gauges. I don't understand those either.
The transgender woman in this commercial has a nose ring, not like side nose ring, but middle nose ring. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You know, as opposed to some of the side ones going like one nostril and out the side. This one is like between the two nostrils and the center part of your nose.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is, here, let me do this. There's this guy who's come out with, well, let me find it. Here, okay, right here. Hold on a minute. Okay, hold on. Let me plug my phone back in again. See if it's going to work. Okay. This is this commercial. This is a guy who's anti-Hershey. You ready? I think this is going to play. You ready for this? Oh, it's not going to.
And I love an international woman.
Okay, hold it. No, here we go. I'm sorry. In my button for it. Okay, here we go. Now here's this guy's name is this guy's Jeremy. I don't know what his last name is. Okay, you ready for this? This is his anti-Hershey commercial. You ready?
International Women's Day is upon us again. And I love an international woman. But our friends over at Hershey's, they don't even know what a woman is. They've hired a biological male to be the spokesperson for their Women's Day campaign. And they're calling that campaign, and I swear I'm not making this up, Hershey. It's humiliating. And it's the reason that I'm launching Jeremy's chocolate. We have two kinds, she, her, and he, him. One of them's got nuts. If you need me to tell you which one it is, keep giving your money to Hershey's. But if you're tired of giving your money to woke corporations that hate you, and you're looking for a delicious chocolate bar from a company that actually wants your business, head over to IHateHershey's.com and order Jeremy's chocolate today.
I hate Hershey's, and I think to myself, this can't be a real website. And sure enough, it is. It's a real website.
Is it really?
Yes, you can. It's a real deal. This guy came up with this thing where he's mad at Hershey's because they want. But I'm thinking to myself, I don't understand that. Now, you as a woman, it's International Women's Day, okay? Why, if you're a big company like Hershey, why would you have, like he says, a biological male who has not had the operations, so to speak, who is like got all the male parts, and once again, I get in trouble. People say, you're not understanding, this is, okay, I don't understand it. I mean, back in the day, there was Renee Richards. And if you know the whole story with Renee Richards, this is going back. You know who Renee Richards is?
The name does come up in my memory banks.
Renee Richards was a guy who transitioned to a woman like 30 years ago. This has been a long time ago. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he was, let me look this up. If I bet you I just type in Renee Richards, let me go to Wikipedia. I bet you it's right there. Okay, this will tell you the whole story. This is like nothing new. This has been around for a long time. Renee Richards. Not Renee Russo. Renee Richards. Okay. Renee Russo is an American ophthalmologist and former tennis player who competed on the professional circuit in the 70s and became widely known following male-to-female sex reassignment surgery when she fought to compete as a woman in the 1976 U.S. Open. Okay? Once again, this is nothing new. This happened in 1976. Born August 19th, 1934. Still alive, age 88, lives in New York City. Let me read this over again. Renee Richards, born August 19, 1934, is an American ophthalmologist, in other words, an MD, and former tennis player. And I do remember this. She was like she, whatever, was like a really good tennis player, but wasn't good enough to play on the men's circuit. So in the 1970s, had sexual reassignment surgery, essentially, literally had the parts changed from a man to a woman. And then, as a she fought to compete as a woman in the 1976 U.S. Open. This goes back to 1976. And it's interesting.
History does repeat itself.
Yes, I know. And it talks about Grand Slam results. The United States Tennis Association began requiring genetic screening for female players that year. She challenged that policy, and the New York Supreme Court ruled in her favor, a landmark case in transgender rights. As one of the first professional athletes to identify as transgender, she became a spokesperson for transgender people in sports. After retiring as a player, she coached Martina Navratilova. Say that name. Martina Navratilova. Anyway, to 2 Wimbledon titles. Okay. This is 1976. What is that? 50 years ago? Almost 50 years ago?
It's a minute.
Yeah, I mean, almost 50 years ago. But 48, 47, something like that. Do my math. Okay? Nothing new. There's nothing new. But yet, see, back then, you have to have the actual surgery. Now, if it's 7:40, I'm a man. And it's 7:41, when the clock ticks over to 7:41, I will become a woman. Right here in the radio. Right before your very ears.
What, are you going to start whining?
You said that. I didn't.
Fran.
No, I'll go, Shelley. See, but going back to this thing.
Well.
Here's what I don't understand, okay?
What?
Essentially, we are in the radio business, which is a form of broadcasting, okay? Broad meaning, as opposed to narrow, broad meaning like you want as many people to listen as possible. In other words, we're not trying to talk to 3 people like our audience. We're trying to talk to 3 million people. And ultimately, if we had a national radio station like Sirius XM or something like that, we could talk to the entire country at the exact same time with our broadcast, okay? So in other words, if you're a company, what are you trying to do? You're trying to appeal. It's 7:41, by the way. I'm a woman now. If you're a company, aren't you trying to appeal to the largest possible audience out there, right?
Yes.
Okay. Right now, the transsexual, transgender, whatever one is, it's probably less than 1% of the entire population of the United States. Less than 1%. If somebody has any numbers any different than that, please tell me. But it can't be more than 1%. Maybe 2%. Let's give it 2%. So if you're a company, why would you want to target 1% of your potential customer base? If you're Ford Motor Company and you come on and say, hey, we've got a new Bronco, and this Bronco is only for women who are 4 feet tall, are shorter, and who have red hair and green teeth. You go like, why would Ford come out with a car that's targeted at like maybe 0.0009% of the population? Why would you do that? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It's like Schnook saying, hey, all our stores today, the only people that can come in our stores are men who are over 7 feet tall. And you go like, okay. Was there going to be like one guy in each store? I mean, is the basketball team from SLU going to show up? I don't even know if they have any 7-footers. But what are you going to have? A couple NBA guys fly into town, go like, hey man, Schnooks is open to us tall guys today. It's like, I don't get it.
Have you ever dated anybody with green teeth?
Oh yeah.
No, I mean seriously, I don't know how they get to have green teeth.
Back in high school. Sarah Greenteeth, man, we loved her. She was great.
Oh, be quiet. I really did.
Everybody talked about Sarah Greenteeth.
I couldn't continue the relationship.
What's that line in Easy Rider? Charlie Daniels. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Somebody help me with that. There's a line. You know the song Easy Rider?
I do, but I don't remember it.
Or no, what is it? Is it here? Is it that? Here, let me look that up. Charlie. See, you sent me on these. I go on these Charlie Daniels. Oh no, it's called Uneasy Rider. That's what it is. Charlie Daniels Uneasy. Uneasy Rider. Okay, let me see. Yeah, here's the lyrics. Here, full lyrics. Okay. I stuffed my hair up under my head. I told the bartender that I had a flat, and would he be kind enough to give me a change for one? There was one thing I was sure proud to see. There wasn't a soul in the place except for me, and he just looked disgusted and pointed toward the phone. I called up the station down the road a ways, and a guy wasn't very busy today. He said he'd come in just about 10 minutes or so. Just ordered up a beer, sat down at the bar when some guy walked up and said, "Who owns this car with the peace sign, the mag wheels, and 4 on the floor?" Well, he looked at me and I damn near died. I decided that I'd just wait outside. So I laid $1 on the bar and headed for the door. Just when I thought I'd get out there with my skin, these 5 big dudes come strolling in with this one old drunk guy and some fellow with green teeth. There it is right there. It's in the song. I knew I remembered it from that. Have you ever heard this song before?
I never have.
Uneasy Rider? You've never heard Uneasy Rider? Oh, my God.
No.
It's Charlie Daniels doing rap.
Really?
Yes. Charlie.
I've never heard that.
Charlie.
I'm a Charlie Daniels fan.
Charlie Daniels doing rap. And you think I'm kidding. Do me a favor, okay? In the break.
Is that a Friday song?
Oh, no.
What?
No, it's too long. It's like 8 minutes long. It's like a super. It's here. Let me look at it.
Is it fast?
They played it. This was like in power rotation back in the day. This is a Keishi song.
Oh.
They played all the time. It was like a huge here. Yeah, here it is. Right here. She sent me the. Here's the video. Yeah, Charlie Daniels, Uneasy Rider.
So to me, that particular song has like
1973.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's Charlie Daniels rapping. And I'm not kidding. I mean, I gave those lyrics. He's not singing those lyrics. He was talking those lyrics. It starts out, I was taking a trip out to L.A., tooling along in my Chevrolet, token on a number and digging on the radio. Just as I crossed the Mississippi line, I heard that highway start to whine, and I knew that left rear tire was about to go. Well, the spare was flat, and I got uptight because there wasn't a filling station in sight, so I just limped down the shoulder on the rim. I went as far as I could, and when I stopped the car, I was right in front of this little bar, a little redneck place called the Dewdrop Inn. He's rapping.
It wasn't called, what was that called?
Stovall's.
Yes. Are you sure Charlie Daniels wasn't working on 100?
Well, it's funny you should mention that
Building
because
100 and then him and who was that? Brooks and Dunn?
Yeah, Charlie Daniels was in that construction crew, and
that's what I thought.
He did go to Stovall's with Brooks and Dunn when near the county line. No, okay, this is do me a favor. Okay, I'm going to take a break here. Grab your phone, go on YouTube, pull up the song Uneasy Rider, Charlie Daniels, and listen to it, and tell me if he ain't rapping. Okay?
Okay.
He's not singing.
Been sent to me,
he's not. Has someone sent it to you?
Yeah.
He's not singing. He's rapping. Charlie Daniels, the incredibly talented musician who was incredibly talented singer and violin player, fiddle player, I guess you call him. I will tell you my personal Charlie Daniels story. Okay, of how I will tell you how I was so impressed with Charlie Daniels. To this day, I will tell you the story about this. And it's actually a very positive story. Okay, next break, you listen to the song and tell me if he ain't rapping Uneasy Rider, okay?
Okay.
Okay, that's your homework, okay? You got about 4 minutes, okay? It is 7:47. It is BS.Show. I'm Shelley. She's Brad. Together we make BS. Okay, have you done your homework assignment yet, Shelley?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Is that Charlie Daniels rapping or is that Charlie Daniels rapping?
It's more of a country rap than it is a rap.
But he's rapping, right? He's not singing. He's rapping.
No, it's more folksy.
Well, but he's not singing. He's rapping because what do rappers rap? They rap. They rhyme. They rhyme. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he doesn't have a rap beat.
Well, but
he does say some things that probably shouldn't be played on air.
Are you ready for this? Mike Otten sent me, and I do remember this. Mike Otten sent me this. He came out in 1988 with Uneasy Rider 88, where he goes to a gay bar.
Well, that was the end of the song. Did you listen to the whole thing?
Yes, right. Okay, so it's he talks so about. Funny. He says, "I was feeling dry, and I said, think we ought to stop and get ourselves a drink." And old Jim said, "Yeah, 'cause we got time to kill." We kept on rolling and seen this spot, and we pulled into the parking lot. of this place called the Cloud9 Bar and Grill. We walked through the door, and the place was jammed. The lights were low. They had a punk rock band and some orange-haired fella singing about suicide. I said, Jim, this ain't our kind of place. He said, well, just have one round anyway. So against my better judgment, we walked on inside. We went up to the bar and sat down. This fella walked up and said, I'll buy this round. And he sat down in the bar stool next to Jim. He looked like a girl, but he talked like a guy. He had lipstick and mascara in his eyes. And everybody in that place looked just about like him. I won't go any further. This is 1988. Charlie Daniels. Okay. I can't remember the year. This is a long time ago. We had Charlie Daniels on our radio station, the old KSLQ, and he came out with a new album. And back in the day, Charlie Daniels was sort of like mainstream. You know, in the years, probably the last 20, 30 years of his career, he became pretty much country. But back in the day, he had a lot of top 40 hits, okay? Devil Went Down to Georgia with like a top 40 hit, which is like everybody played that song. So he had a new album came out, and we had a chance to have him come into St. Louis and sign records at Peaches Records.
Oh,
out on,
really?
Out on Manchester. Out in the Manchester one out there.
Not on Chambers?
No, one up in Manchester, one out on Ellisville, Baldwin, someplace out there in Manchester, near west of 141. You know, once you get west of 141, they all look the same. Okay. Anyway,
wow.
He shows up, and he couldn't have been a nicer guy. He comes and he's talking, he's shaking all the hands, all the people at the radio station. And the deal was, we're saying, hey, you know, promos in here, hey, come out and you know, meet Charlie Daniels, have him autograph anything you want. So we're thinking, you know, 20, 30 people show up. There were close to, and I'm not exaggerating, 1,000 people that showed up. It was, if it wasn't 1,000, it was close to 1,000 people. So we're going like, and once again, we said, he's going to autograph stuff. So we had this little area set up. And keep in mind, this is in the summer. This is like in July. And we're out in the parking lot, an asphalt parking lot in front of Peaches right there in Manchester. It's blaring down sun. It's like hotter than the face of the earth. And he's in his long sleeve shirt, long pants, cowboy boots, cowboy hat. He sits down at this table and he says, okay, I'm ready. So it was supposed to last for 2 hours, like a 2-hour meet and greet. Hey, come on, meet Charlie Daniels between noon and 2 or something like that. At 2 o'clock, he's maybe a third of the way through the line. So his handler, he's like dude from the record company, hey, Charlie, it's 2 o'clock, we got to go. And Charlie looks at him and says, son, I'm not leaving till everybody gets an autograph. We were there for 6 hours.
Cool.
He signed every stinking thing. I mean, and what's so funny about it is some company that was doing, we had a sound system set up in the whole bit, and it was so hot, and the guy was like from a sound company down the street or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but the guy was close. His amplifier kept overheating, so the amplifier would crap out. He'd get in his car, drive down the street to his shop, come back with another one, plug it in, our sound system came back up. We're on like the 4th amplifier. It was so hot. And we're all just dripping with sweat. And here's Charlie. People coming up to the desk. Hey, Charlie. Hey, thanks for coming out today. You know, I mean, he was like Mr. Nice Guy with every single person sitting there signing every single autograph, albums, you know, signing people's shirts, signing people's hands, signed the autograph in the guy's cheek, you know, with a Sharpie, you know, I mean, just bizarre, weird stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a real dude. You know what I mean? This guy is the real deal. You know, somebody like, I won't mention names, but you can probably think of somebody who would show, oh, there's so many people. I don't want to touch them. I want to, he'd shake hands, you know. And this was like way before the selfie thing with like phones and things like that. A couple people did come with cameras. I mean, you know, back in the day, you know, that's why nowadays, you know, something happens and there's 14,000 pictures of it and 32,000, you know, videos of it. Back in the day, things happened and nobody took a picture of it because nobody had a camera. Well, some people did, but not many people. So, and to this day, there is a picture, and I can't, it's on a couple different websites. It might be somewhere in my website of me and Don Jefferson, a bunch of other guys from the radio station in Peaches. We went inside to take this picture. Actually, I think we took the picture before the autograph session started of me and Charlie Daniels, a bunch of other guys. I think Joel Denver's there, my old boss, who blocked me on Twitter, but that's a whole nother story. Anyway, we're all there with Charlie Daniels. And I'm telling you, I walked away from that, and every one of us at the radio station said, you know, I mean, to a person, they all said, God, he's the nicest guy. And he was only supposed to be there for 2 hours. He spent 6 hours signing the autograph. And he had to be sweating his butt off because most of us were like in short sleeve shirts. Matter of fact, I know I was. I was in like my KSLQ baseball shirt that had, it was just like a short sleeve, like almost like a baseball jersey kind of thing. Thin cotton shirt, with like blue jeans or something like that. And he sat there the entire 6 hours. Didn't complain, didn't hold it. And 6 hours, he gets in they had a van, pick him up, or maybe it might have been a limousine. I can't remember. And away he went. Couldn't have been a nicer guy. Why aren't there more people like that?
I don't know. I wish there were more people like that.
Well, we're almost done. International Women's Day. What are you going to do to celebrate? You're going to go buy a Hershey's candy bar?
Yes, I am, actually. Because I'm all about that candy.
Okay. Anything to finish up with today?
What day is today, Brad?
It's hump day.
Hump day.
It's hump
yeah.
day.
Mike. What day is it?
It's hump day.
Yes, hump day. Yeah. 7:59. Have a great day, everybody. Brad, it's been a slice of heaven as usual. Peace and I fly.
The smartest woman in the world says Charlie Daniels never raps, so she's with you.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, go on. You can't say it anymore because Disney banned that. Did you know Disney banned ladies and gentlemen? You can't say that anymore. Do you know that?
What?
You can't. In the Disney parks, they used to say, ladies and gentlemen. Now they don't say that
Boys
anymore.
and girls, yeah.
Right. That's gone. They took that out. Did you know that?
So we can't say it?
No. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, go listen to Uneasy Rider on YouTube and tell me if Charlie Daniels isn't rapping, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. It is 7:59.
It's a folky song.
Have you heard about Salt River Automotive? Not only are we open for business and ready to serve you, we are sponsors of the BS in the Morning Show on Westplex 107.1. Check us out on Facebook at Salt River Automotive LLC. See you soon.